And welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Armed American Radio's Daily Defense begins right now. Mark Walters from the CZ Studios filling your prescription for freedom today and every day here at the Patriot Mobile Command Center on the Patriot Mobile microphone. It's all being brought to you by the National Rifle Association. If you want to watch the program today, you can watch us over on YouTube at Armed American Radio, and you can watch us on X at AAR Mark. We are not up on Rumble today, and we are not up on Facebook. We will get back to Facebook. And the Rumble thing is just the Rumble thing. That has to do with them, not us. They didn't want to play pool today in a connection. So they lose. You win. Let's get right to, if you want to participate in the chat, fun stuff, Telegram messaging app. Download that app, and you can search for Armed American Radio Conversations, and you can join the long list of knuckleheads in that chat that like to get together when the show is on and have a great time. And I would really appreciate it if you would comment in the YouTube feed. We get the stream here. And we are watching that, and it really helps. So please subscribe to us on YouTube. We would appreciate that greatly. And you can follow us over at X at AAR Mark. Let's go over to Lee, the Gunwriter Williams, my brother from another mother. How you doing, Lee? It's good to see you. It's good to see you.
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. You're doing good. I know it's hot as a pistol up here, baby. I know it's hot down there.
Yeah. The walks with Will, it usually take 15, 20 minutes. Go outside, she pees, turn around, come back inside.
Willa is the little dog, ladies and gentlemen, and I do the same thing with Huey up here. Lee and I, a lot of people think we'd have German Shepherds and stuff, but we got the little dogs, man. I love the little dogs. Love those little guys, right?
I do too. Will is a Boston Terrier. She's not that big. No,
she's little, and she has those big, those big bulging eyes like my dog does, and they're fun. They're super intelligent, super intelligent. Lee, the Gunwriter Williams, I will say to you the same thing I've said to all of my guests over the last month. I've never seen anything like this, and it keeps coming at us one shot, pun intended, right after the other. And as a result of that coming at us, the historic context with which we're talking about the Second Amendment has never been discussed in terms like this before, I don't think, since the nation's founding. Would you agree with that very bold statement? Because that is a bold statement.
I would. People say the Second Amendment is getting stronger. I say no, the Second Amendment has always been strong. Government overregulation is getting pulled off of the Second Amendment, which is making it easier to follow.
Okay, see, I was talking about content for the show today with Bobby running the boards with us, and he said, you guys, believe me, it'll just fly. It always does. And you just threw something at me. Could it be, when I heard what you just said, and I'll ask this question of you, love the spontaneity of live radio, and that is, could it be that we're just getting better at what we do? And I don't mean me individually or you individually. I mean Second Amendment advocacy, the Supreme Court giving us the opportunity with the strength of Bruen, and now on the heels of that Third Circuit decision, the anti-gunners know what's coming. Are we just getting better at our game and fighting and winning our constitutional rights back? Could that be the case? I mean, can we not, all of us as gun owners and supporters and advocates, can't we pat ourselves on the back and say, hey, we're getting pretty good at this? And it's easy to do because we have the Constitution on our side, and it's about damn time we learned how to fight this fight.
Yeah, I really do. But I do have to say that, the guys like Alan Gottlieb, who founded the Second Amendment Foundation more than 50 years ago, they are the reason that we're successful now. They set the
tone,
the perfect opportunity here for all of us. They made the nest, and we're just birds living in it, brother. That's where we're at.
No, and
Thanks
that's
to
true.
them, I think we find, and I think you touched on it earlier. The Supreme Court is finally there to pay attention and to do the right thing. No more Clinton courts, no more Obama courts. We finally got a Supreme Court that pays attention to the law and to our Constitution. Thank God.
For now.
Yeah, for now. So we gotta kick some butt.
Vigilance. It's going to require vigilance, ladies and gentlemen. We are in a very, very, very unique position today that, frankly, we haven't found ourselves in I don't think we've ever found ourselves in. Because I can tell you the last 2 months at least, we've never seen anything like this. So do we know what to do with all of these victories? Another fair question. I think I know the answer to that. But we are in uncharted territory, Lee.
We are. I would like to say, I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 99.9%. There's still some things that need to be taken care of. Tate Adamiak, for example.
All right, you have, while you just mentioned Tate, let's go there because President Trump just denied a whole slew of pardons. Tate Adamiak's name was not in a denial.
Pardon request. Correct.
What does that mean?
Correct.
Tell me.
He killed more than 300 pardon requests. That's an official letter. You write, you send it into the president. He looks at it and says, nah, I think that guy needs to stay in prison. He did not kill Tate, which is huge.
All right. And
I think if he, and Tate happened during the last administration, obviously. That was Joe Biden's ATF
right.
that hooked him up for no reason, kicked down his doors for no reason, got him a 20-year sentence for no reason. I just think that if that can be taken care of, then I'll relax. Then I will be happy. But as long as we've got a guy in prison who's going to serve another 16 years,
yeah, he's not going to. He's not going to. I know his family listens to this show. Mom and Dad, I love you. You know that, and I cannot wait to bring you, all three of you, on as a family on this program, and we will do that with Lee. And we will have a roundtable with you because I have this feeling, and I know that he's not going to serve the rest of that time. But I will say this. What people want to know, we never seem to get what we want fast enough, and that's because we have fought for so long. But we have to be, you've got to get out of that bubble. You've got to look down and realize that some of these things do, in fact, take time. There's the whole absolutist thing that we want it now.
I got to disagree.
Go ahead.
Trump's been in office 555 days. Tomorrow it'll be 555. Okay, Tate's been in prison for more than 1,500 days.
Mm-hmm.
Almost to the third year. We're starting a third year. That's more than enough time. President Trump and the ATF and the DOJ could have taken care of Tate. They have not.
All right, well, here's where I want to throw. This is where
strike against it.
I don't think we disagree, but I'm going to throw a different angle at this, okay? The President of the United States is an incredibly busy man. There's no question about it. He's got thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of pardons coming at him and requests all day long. And let's be very fair here. For every one of those people, it is someone else's Tate Adamiak. I understand that. Other families feel they've been wronged, whatever the case may be. Some of the pardons are a joke. Some of them are a waste of DOJ's time, but they still have to research and look at what happened in these cases because you just hit the nail on the head. Adamiak was Biden's issue. So obviously there's going to be some research on that to find out what happens. The good part is they know about it. It didn't get tossed. SCOTUS involved in this. Blanche is aware of this. The people who need to know. Now, I don't know what the time frame is. It's like court cases. You know, Bruen comes out. We want okay, well, we got Bruen. The Supreme Court has to wait and see how the lower courts are going to react before they can begin taking other cases.
I get that.
And here we are.
A man's freedom who did nothing wrong.
That's absolutely. You know, I'm in 100,000% agreement with you, and I know we want this done yesterday. And administration officials, I know you're listening. Please get this done. Get this done. I know how busy you guys are and all this, but there are certain things that you have to do, and I feel really, really good about Tate Adamiak. I do. It's just a gut feel. Never happens fast enough, but I got to be fair to the other. I got to be fair to the administration. I know. I don't know. I know how busy they are, but I don't know how busy. I know how busy I am. I can't imagine how busy he is, okay, and the administration. So there's a lot of moving parts here when we put it in context. And nonetheless, Lee, we are now beginning to bear the fruits of all of that waiting and that time in the appellate courts.
Oh, yeah.
We're beginning to see it, which is why I feel good about Tate. It's just so sad that it's his life that's waiting while we're all waiting. He's waiting in a jail cell. We're waiting in Sarasota, Florida, and a studio in North Georgia. Okay, and he's in I guess still a county prison right now, jail?
He is still in that rough county prison, county jail. A county jail. You can't call it a prison. He's in a county jail. Yeah. No idea why he's there. No idea. 30 to music. Back to federal time or when he's getting out. Living every second of every day, worried. Yeah, it's a nightmare.
The wait.
People have been killed in that jail.
Oh, yeah. I mean, guys, think about when you were a little kid, what it was like waiting for Christmas. Imagine being Tate, sitting in a prison, waiting every single day, knowing that your next hearing is in 2 more months, and you've got 2 more months to wait, and it just drags and drags and drags. Meanwhile, your family's involved. nightmares. But I can promise you this, when we have updates like this, we're going to be the first ones to bring it to you. Lee will bring it to you at Armed American News. Come back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Mark Walters filling your prescription for freedom here in the season. Lee the Gunwriter Williams, let's keep this conversation going. You know, I wasn't disagreeing with you. I'd seen some comments during the break.
I know.
I agree with you 100%. I guess what I'm doing is I'm trying to allow the administration a little bit of leeway here, because I know, imagine how many pardons they have coming at them, how many other families, Tate Adamiaks, are out there. And I just kind of wanted to go back and revisit that briefly before I take you to USA Today and let you know that I wasn't disagreeing with you on that, because I still feel really, really good about that, and I want to throw that out.
I get that. I totally do. I will say this about Tate. 99.9% of the pardons are for people that committed a crime. They made an error. They had a bad decision.
Right.
Tate did not. He did nothing wrong.
Right.
Nothing they found in his home was illegal. We've documented that. He's an innocent man who, besides, his 20-year sentence is a joke. Even the head of the ATF said, no, if everything was above board, he'd get 3 years. Yeah. But, okay, he got 20 because...
That day is coming. That day is coming. I just saw some of the comments, and to those of you who are commenting about that case, I appreciate you following it very much, as does Lee as well. As Martin says, it is an absolute massive miscarriage of justice, and there should be no person in ATF that should resist this. Well, sadly, the rank and file probably do, but we know SCOTUS is not, and he's the lead dog, so fingers are crossed here. Lee, let's move over to USA Today. One of the things I wanted to do with you, and I will do with you today, is I Google gun control. I love when I Google gun control on a day, right? So today is a Google Gun Control Sunday, which is kind of a gutsy move when you're on a live microphone and you Google your content for on air live. You never know what's going to come up or what might not come up, leaving you in the lurch. However, we found over the years that when we do a live Google gun control, there's always a smorgasbord to talk about. One of the top stories, as I Googled during the break, was the USA Today story that you referred to in your column at Armed American News. Remind listeners again that you got fired by Maribel, who was the lead dog at where?
USA Today.
Well, and it was the greatest day. It was the greatest day of my life. When, ladies and gentlemen, a true story. When Lee called me to tell me he got fired from USA Today, I cherished the moment because I'd been waiting for so long because they wouldn't allow him to appear on this program. Woo! Lee's back with a vengeance now, and he's killing it out there as a real investigative journalist. Tell us what the USA Today did, because the double speak here is just outrageous, and I don't even know if that's the right way to frame it, but I'll let you take it away.
Well, they wrote a story on Sunday titled, "What's the Supreme Court's Test for Gun Rules Could Mean for AR-15s This Year?" Evidently, they don't know anything about short headlines. It was written by a reporter named Maureen Grappa. You got to look at the fact that at first it looks like, wow, this might be pro-gun. They're going to talk about ARs. It's not. Look at the history of USA Today. I mean, they still allow gun control activists from the Trace to write, supply photos, and even edit their newspaper stories.
That's crazy.
They've never stopped that. But Grappi's story kind of changes tactics. Gone are these Trace kids, and in are two very refined new voices, anti-gun voices, both law professors. These are the guys that founded Duke Center for Firearms Law. Now, you don't know anything about Duke Centers for Firearms Law. You might think, oh, that might be, middle of the road, or maybe it's to the right. No. NRA did a story in December about their new CEO that they brought on board, and let's just say this: she's worked as an attorney, defending and getting involved with Brady, Giffords, and Everytown to promote gun safety policies before federal courts. So that's all you need to know about Duke Law Center. The reporter in this story, she followed the rule of both sides, I should say. There's one pro-gun voice in the entire story. It's a member of GOA. But then she just loads it up with anti-gun voices. And she's got the head of Brady Gun Violence and Prevention, what she calls the Brady Gun Violence Prevention Advocacy Group, which we know is Brady. He's talking about, assault weapons bans are constitutional. But then she gets these two attorneys, and these are the guys that founded Duke. And, man, these guys, I got to tell you, they are sharper than the other ones that she's had over the years. Although the one guy, Joseph Blocker, extremely anti-gun, extremely anti-Bruen. Gee, I wonder why. He and his pal at Duke Center have written crap. Let's just say this. In 2023, they wrote that, and I quote, "Guns can create fear, intimidation, and social trauma, deter civic participation in the exercise of constitutional rights, and further entrench racial inequities." And these are the guys you're going to have in a news story. I've never seen anything like it. They close out the news story, I got to say this, saying that that ARs are sometimes called the iPhone of guns because of their popularity and how easy they are to customize. I've never heard that. But, I've only been writing about guns for a dozen or so years, and I'm certainly not as well-versed on the gun debate as anybody working for USA Today.
Using that analogy, that would pretty much cement the common use test with me.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
I might not have looked at it in those terms, but let's put it this way, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think I'm going to get an argument from anybody, no matter what your political persuasion, even if you're left and wrong about everything, which if you're left, you're wrong about everything. But I don't think I'd get an argument from you that iPhones are certainly in common use. So if you want to use that analogy, I guarantee that comes up in an argument at some point down the road. Don't be stupid enough, Mr. Legal People, to put that in a amici brief or something in support of your position, because that won't work well for you. Lee, we're getting ready to take a break. I'll pull a quote up from USA Today. "Nothing in the recent decisions undermines the court's previous rulings that the nation has historically restricted dangerous and unusual weapons and can continue to do so," said Douglas Letter, the chief legal officer for the Brady Gun Violence Prevention Advocacy Group. "Obviously, there are disagreements on where that line should be drawn. We think it absolutely should be drawn so that assault weapons bans are constitutional." When we come back, let's address that briefly, how brief we can be. We'll be back right after this with Lee the Gunwriter Williams. Good old USA Today, man. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Armed American Radio's Daily Defense continues. That's a Patriot Mobile rejoiner, ladies and gentlemen. We're at the Patriot Mobile Ranch. This is the Patriot Mobile mic at the CZ Studios. It's all brought to you by the NRA, and this is a Patriot Mobile activated phone. I had expected to get up and activate 2 more phones today, but I got so ever-loving busy I didn't get a chance to do it, so I should be able to do that by Friday nonetheless, and I intend to do that, and I'll let you know as I go through that process. But it only takes about 20 minutes. Unfortunately, I have to physically go to the shop because my current carrier screwed up the numbers in the phones, and they've got mine switched with my wife, and they won't let me make the switch over at Patriot Mobile online until I get those numbers reversed, which I have to physically go there to do. So I will find the time to do that, and we will have 2 more Patriot Mobile phones here at the ranch. It's patriotmobile.com/AAR. It's the same code I use. You can use it too. Please make sure to visit them. Also, Cove Pure Water. Welcome back in, my brother. Let's
Good to be here.
Let's go back to that USA Today, which just kills. I want you to listen carefully to this quote, ladies and gentlemen. "Nothing in recent decisions undermines the court's previous rulings that the nation has historically restricted dangerous and unusual weapons." That's the definition. It has to be dangerous and unusual. This is not or, and, both. That's what they're trying to do. This is the tack that they're taking, Lee, on your AR-15, that your semi-automatic rifle, which is less powerful than pick any of your hunting rifles for that matter.
Right.
They're trying to classify it as dangerous and unusual. Now, they are going to fail miserably. And as Jared said the other day, it will be a glorious day. But I want to get your take on that, because they are now beginning to signal to us how they intend to fight us, not just in the oral arguments in the case, but what comes down after they know they lose it. We'll go there in a second with you, too. But take it away.
Yeah, I see that with the ARs. We've seen something similar with the Glocks. They're not calling them Glocks or America's most popular handgun like the AR is America's most popular rifle. They're calling them convertible to full auto. It's a handgun that can be converted to full auto.
Machine
not
pistols.
Mentioning that machine pistols. You have one of those things that converts it, one of those little things that plugs right on the back of your pistol. That's federal 5-year prison sentence, but they don't mention that.
Yeah, now
it's sad, really.
they won't argue that that's dangerous and unusual. They'll argue that the Glock is dangerous and unusual when it's criminally modified. Criminally modified. Really. I can criminally modify my automobile.
Right.
I can criminally modify a frying pan.
Right.
Okay, so, ladies and gentlemen, it's remarkable. I was on 97.1 FM this morning with Mark Cox in the morning, and he quoted a woman. I'm going to try to remember this, but I'm not sure I can. The argument that she got into with someone, and Mark said he loved it. I'll see if I can pull the clip for tomorrow. But he said the argument that the anti-gunner was using with her said, you got to go back to the founding, and he pulled this old thing out of his butt that says, frankly, well, they were talking about muskets. And she said something else about the Second Amendment AR-15 rifles, and he says AR-15 rifles are not in the Constitution. They were talking about muskets, and she said, yeah, I'll agree with you when you can point to me where muskets is written into the Second Amendment. Oh, it was an absolutely brilliant statement that I hadn't thought about in those terms before, because it also goes back to, and keep in mind, my response, as I told Mark this morning, would have been, was that guy talking on an iPhone while typing at a computer, or that was also not mentioned in the First Amendment? I mean, their logic is so twisted and so sick and perverted that they just want to do everything they can to, for whatever reason, fit their own agenda. The rest of us and our freedoms and liberties be damned. Lee, it's frustrating.
Yeah, it is. And it's sad to see the tactics like that, especially in the states where you cannot possess an AR or you cannot possess a Glock, like Maryland and California. However, I'd rather have them fighting us like that with this crap about ARs and Glocks than I would what they did in that story that I just read. They're bringing in these smarter guys, and they're trying to change a public perception by saying, oh, well, it's a debate, Mark. It's a Second Amendment debate. I think that's a hell of a lot smarter at USA Today, what they did, the crimes they did with that story, than it is going after Glocks. I think that's their Bush League, because we know what's going to happen when the Supreme Court hears the AR case. And unfortunately, they're probably going to have to hear something on handguns, too, at some point in time.
Well, it's possible that the ruling could be broad enough because the Democrats were so stupid by putting the Glock in the assault firearm category, which they did. They did that of their own volition, which was a really stupid move. I called that out and said, that's going to backfire on them when they try to make it a machine pistol and claim it's dangerous, unusual, and classify it with their list of assault weapons, which, guess what, are going to be found constitutional, will also include that. So this is all going to hinge on how broad the ruling is based on this. And if the Third Circuit's decision was any indication, when they moved to also include the magazines, that I think we're going to get a broader decision than we may have had handed down in some of the previous decisions, because if you look at the bans in some of these states, they are very broad.
Yeah.
And not one gun on that list is going to be able to be found to be dangerous and unusual. And to be honest with you, I don't give one flying crap about how smart these attorneys think they are. They cannot argue their way around common use. They cannot argue their way around ballistics, and they will never be able to argue themselves around dangerous and unusual as the most common rifle in America. I don't care how smart they are. I don't care what kind of doublespeak they use. It's not going to happen. So bring it on.
Clear. I mean, brother, they're the most popular weapons in this country for a damn good reason.
Yeah.
And that's because people bought them because they function and they do the job. They're not dangerous. They're not unusual. I can't tell you how many times I've seen young people, children, shooting with their dad at the range. It's a very well-made gun. There's nothing dangerous, and there's certainly nothing unusual about either one, either the Glock or the AR.
Yeah, one of the guys in the article here is a guy by the name of Daryl Miller, a University of Chicago law professor and Second Amendment expert. He's such a Second Amendment expert. I have him on the show every week. He's never been on my show, and he never will be on my show. He agrees with criticisms that the test has not delivered on its promises of being simpler to apply, meaning the Bruen test, history and text, and more constraining on the ability of judges to reach their preferred outcome. Judges' preferred outcome. Judges' preferred outcome.
Right.
Judges shouldn't have a preferred outcome.
No.
Okay, so
no.
you follow this, guys. Just hear what they say. And the previous approach of analyzing double speak, analyzing whether a restriction was sufficiently tailored to a modern policy goal. When they come down with decisions that ask questions like, is a modern jet airplane more like a horse, or is it more like a carriage, or is it more like a boat? I think people that are paying attention just feel a little bewildered. It's like, what kind of odd elite parlor game is happening up there? The parlor game, ladies and gentlemen, is being played by those on the left who are using the doublespeak to con you or to try to con the courts. And what they will attempt to do is try to con Alito and Gorsuch and the rest of them, including Thomas. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be back. Yeah, there's my attorneys on retainer card, ladies and gentlemen, right here in my hot little hands. And it tells me everything I need to do if I ever have to use the firearm I carry with me every single day. And speaking of firearms that I carry with me every single day, this might shock Lee the Gunwriter Williams. A.W.R. Hawkins put a tweet out earlier that said, just curious, does anybody else still have a heavy chunk of metal that fires a .45 caliber round near them for self-defense? And of course he was referring to the 1911, to which I can't pick up and hold because we're live streaming right now, but I have one sitting right here in the studio with me that resides here for my personal protection every single day. Now, I don't carry that gun with me anymore. I carry other firearms. But if I did and I had to use it, Attorneys on Retainer is going to support me and keep me out of trouble, because this gun is not unusual and dangerous, and I'm allowed to carry it because I'm a free man, and I'll carry whatever I want, and no politician possesses the moral authority to tell me differently. Lee the Gunwriter, welcome back in, my brother. So I have to go a little bit deeper into this USA Today piece. I'm spending more time on it than I wanted, but it's just so rich. It's a smorgasbord of nonsense.
It is.
I can't help myself. Bloucher, the Second Amendment expert, and he is such a Second Amendment expert, he's a regular guest on this show. He's never been on this show. At Duke University School of Law, said it's hard to see how the Supreme Court could give a partial win to each side in the AR-15 case, as the justices did in their decision about gun owners who regularly use pot. The fact that he even said pot tells me a little bit about what kind of an expert this guy is. Most people throw the 420 up and flash the gang signs anymore, you know. I don't know that people refer to it as pot. Potheads, I think, went out probably in the 80s. But in that opinion, he claims that the AR-15 case has the additional challenge of how prominent the weapons have become in the national debate over guns. Now, Lee, one thing I wanted to point out that you mentioned earlier was we were going to a break. The debate ended December 15th, 1791. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know what that date is, look it up. The debate ended December 15th, 1791, Bill of Rights Day, when Virginia was the state that finally ratified the Bill of Rights. That debate was over. The debate occurred prior to that. It's done.
Yeah.
They just don't like that. So he says, as the additional challenge of how prominent the weapons have become in the national debate over guns, they're connected in the public mind with mass shootings. Now there's a comma there, not a period. Are they connected in the public mind with mass shootings? No, they're only connected in the zealots, wackadoodle, lefty, skulls full of mush minds with mass shootings, Lee.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. There are so many lies and innuendos and untruths in that story. It boggles the mind that it was even published. But that's what they do. I mean, we are, after all, talking about the newspaper that lets anti-gunners come in and edit and bring their own photos and write stories for them. Remember that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he says they're connected in the public mind with mass shootings, making the bans a top target. I love this. And they've also used the word crosshairs and target. You got to love these guys. They throw these little euphemisms in.
Yeah.
Of groups trying to reduce gun violence. But they don't care about 99% of the crime committed by Democrat constituents in Democrat-run blue cities that are using stolen handguns to commit the crime, which is the numbers that they use. They just target this particular 100%. Rifle, correct?
100%. 100%. It's the rifle's fault, man. You don't understand. We'll have to have this debate extended.
Oh, it's incredible. And here's where they go with the iPhone deal that you were mentioning. But they're also immensely popular with law-abiding gun owners. That's somehow secondary. Sometimes called the iPhone of guns. because of their popularity and how easy they are to customize. These weapons have become a very, very wrapped up in identity on many sides of the debate. The stakes are high. Well, I could quote Nugent, the stakes are high and so am I. It's in the air tonight. Wait till June 27th when that happens. And guys, you're going to start, now you're going to want to go listen to the tune. I'm going to play it as soon as I get off the air because I can, because that's fun. But Lee, again, I go back to, and as this, just a little bit north in this, they were going into the argument about Bowie knives being unusual and dangerous and all this nonsense and what the Seventh Circuit relied on that and the mental gymnastics.
Change the topic, confuse the audience, change the topic. That's all they can do. I mean, Bowie knives are bad, Mark. Dude, they're scary. What?
You try to confuse. Oh, I got to have so much fun with this, Lee. I could keep you another hour on this easy.
I know.
So fun to talk with you about this. But yeah, they go into, the power of how the AR-15 is so much more powerful than the muskets of the day. Well, tell that. Let's talk to the 700,000 dead Americans that were shot and killed during the Civil War. Let's talk about the mini ball, or the Minet ball as some people refer to it as. Okay? Let's talk about smoothbore muskets, and let's talk about how many people are underground as a result of those weapons not being powerful. These people have lost their ever-loving minds, and boy, are they going to lose big in June. You can tell I'm jacked up, Lee. I could keep going another 2 hours with you.
I know. It made me crazy. I was screaming as I was writing this story because the lies, the innuendo, the half-truth.
Yeah.
Stacy came in and checked on me. She goes, "What is going on in here?"
I get that at the house all the time too. It doesn't matter what it is. I could be watching a First Amendment audit YouTube video, and I'm yelling at the TV, and I got people coming down and telling me to shut my trap. Sometimes at 3 o'clock, I just can't contain myself sometimes, because some of the stupidity I see, it is truly mind-boggling. Look, you've heard me say this for years. Ignorance, when left unattended, breeds stupidity, ladies and gentlemen, because ignorance is a choice, particularly in today's day and age. Remaining ignorant is a choice. The answer is there for you. All you have to do is go get it. In fact, you can use your stupid iPhone to go get it. Oh, wait a minute. That was far more powerful than the pen and quill and parchment paper back in the day. Maybe First Amendment shouldn't apply here, because this allows access to social media, that allows access to hate speech and TikTok and everything. Oh, wait, that's still protected speech. Your AR-15s are protected, ladies and gentlemen, and we are going to smack them down. And I'll quote Jared Yanis again, because I've quoted him multiple times today. The Supreme Court is going to kick their teeth in, and I just gave away the name of the video I asked you earlier about to take a look at, because it's a good one. Go check it out. It's a rapid-fire analysis. Lee, where can people find you and read all your really cool stuff?
Go to SAF.org. SAF is in secondamendmentfoundation.org.
One thing we did not get into is you're going to be running AMCON again. You're going to be speaking there at the GRPC. I spoke with Adam Kraut, Executive Director of SAF. Today, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to hear us talking a lot about the GRPC coming up September 27th this year in Dallas, Texas. Not only will I be there, I'll be doing the interviews. I'll be interviewing SCOTUS and many others while we're there face-to-face on the Fireside Chats, and I will be broadcasting the show from the Dallas Network, where my good friends are down there running the boards right now. And Lee, we'll have you in and all that like we've done that before. Lee the Gunwriter Williams, thank you, brother, for everything that you do. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get up and do it again tomorrow because they don't want me to, and you just heard why today. Enjoy your day. Stay safe. I love you. I'll see you on the radio tomorrow.